You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Good morning. Welcome to LCM TV News at noon. Hope you all had a good Mother's Day. I'm Pete Schiffman.
I'm Megan Berger.
Our top story today. A fatal car crash took the life of a 57-year-old Nice man Saturday on Lakeshore Boulevard, east of Collier Avenue. According to the CHP, at approximately 1:48 Saturday afternoon, the man was driving a Ford F-150 pickup eastbound on Lakeshore Boulevard, east of Collier Avenue at an unknown rate of speed. For an unknown reason, he allowed the truck to cross the westbound lane of Lakeshore Boulevard and travel off the North Road edge, striking two parked vehicles and continuing north until coming to rest against a walnut tree. Upon arrival of medical personnel, the driver was unconscious and unresponsive. Life-saving measures were immediately implemented, and he was taken to Sutter Hospital in Lakeport. The man was pronounced deceased from his injuries at approximately 2:30 p.m. The name of the driver has not been released as this time, pending notification to the next of kin. Contact Lake County Sheriff Office for details. It does not appear the driver was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the collision, and it appears alcohol may have contributed to the cause of the accident.
One person is dead and another critically injured after multiple tornadoes touched down in parts of northern Texas and eastern Colorado on Saturday, according to reports. The twister west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Eastland County caused one death and seriously injured another, along with damaged homes, flooded roads, and downed power lines. The tornado that racked the area left 5 miles of destruction. In Oklahoma City, a woman drowned in a storm cellar after 51 tornadoes and fierce storms tore across part of the Midwest on Wednesday and pounded Oklahoma. The 42-year-old woman was trapped in an underground shelter in her yard as torrential rain filled it up with water. Her boyfriend found the unidentified woman's body in the storm's only reported fatality. At least 20 people were injured, 5 of them critically, according to local reports in these storms. In Illinois, a massive tornado tore through the northern part of the state Thursday night, leaving a 50-mile path of destruction that killed 2 people, who also happened to be next-door neighbors and friends.
Attorney General Loretta Lynch announced Friday the Department of Justice will launch a civil rights investigation into the practices of the Baltimore Police Department. This investigation will begin immediately and will focus on allegations that Baltimore Police Department officers use excessive force, including deadly force, conduct unlawful searches, seizures, and arrest, and engage in discriminatory policing. That was according to Lynch. The unrest in Baltimore last week and the tensions it exposed between the police and the community is the first major test of Lynch's tenure.
The World Health Organization declared Liberia free of Ebola on Saturday, making it the first of the 3 hardest-hit West African countries to bring a formal end to the epidemic. The president of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, planned to attend ceremonies later in the morning to commemorate the dead and also celebrate survivors. As of Saturday, 2 maximum incubation periods of the virus, a total of 42 days, had passed since the burial of the last person confirmed to have Ebola in Liberia, fulfilling the official criteria for concluding that human-to-human transmission of the virus has ended. There were more than 3,000 confirmed Ebola cases in Liberia and a further 7,400 suspected or probable cases, with more than 4,700 deaths estimated to have occurred since the outbreak was declared there in March of 2014. Among the dead were 189 healthcare workers. When Dr. Ian Crozier was released from Emory University Hospital in October after a long, brutal fight with Ebola that nearly ended his life, his medical team thought he was cured. But less than 2 months later, he was back at the hospital with fading sight, intense pain, and soaring pressure in his left eye. Test results were chilling. The inside of Dr. Crozier's eye was teeming with Ebola. His doctors were amazed. They had considered the possibility that the virus had invaded his eye, but they had not really expected to find it. By the time he left Emory, his blood was Ebola-free. Body fluids other than semen were thought to be clear of it once a patient recovered. Almost nothing was known about the ability of Ebola to lurk inside the eye. Despite the infection within his eye, Dr. Crozier's tears and the surface of his eye were virus-free, so he posed no risk to anyone who had casual contact with him. An infectious disease specialist who handled much of Dr. Crozier's care got special treatment from the FDA to use an experimental antiviral drug taken in pill form. The drug worked, and Dr. Crozier's eye turned blue again.
Prime Minister David Cameron and his Conservatives won a resounding victory in the British general election, with complete results on Friday showing the party had secured an overall majority in Parliament. The vote was a stunning disappointment for the opposition Labour Party and its leader Ed Miliband, who had shifted the party away from a more centrist strategy it pursued under Tony Blair. Miliband stepped down Friday, opening up a new debate over the party's direction. The result returns Cameron to 10 Downing Street for a second term, with enough seats in the House of Commons to act on his agenda while having to rely on support from smaller parties. The Conservatives won 331 of 650 seats in the House of Commons, a gain of 24 seats from the last election in 2010.
As a follow-up to our story last week, Syngenta, a Swiss seed company, both announced and rejected Monsanto's unsolicited bid on Friday, saying that the offer undervalued Syngenta's prospects and underestimated the significant execution risks, including regulatory and public scrutiny at multiple levels in many countries. Monsanto offered 449 Swiss francs, or about $490, for each share of Syngenta. 45% of the payment would be in cash. The offer represented a 35% premium to Syngenta's closing price on Thursday. Monsanto, in its own statement, said it believed that combining the two companies would create an integrated global leader in agriculture with comprehensive and complementary product portfolios. It said it was confident in its ability to obtain all necessary regulatory approvals. Monsanto appears to be trying to get back into a business that it largely abandoned. That is possible acknowledgement, some analysts say, but the biotech seeds may not be the engine to carry the company forward much longer.
GW Pharmaceuticals, a predominantly clinical stage biotech stock that's attempting to use cannabinoids from the cannabis plant to treat various diseases and disorders, showed investors the green, per se, in April after announcing a bevy of positive pipeline data. Perhaps the most exciting announcement during the month was Epidiolex, a drug designed to treat 2 rare forms of childhood onset epilepsy. Its latest study showed that seizures were cut down by 54% for the 137 patients on the medication for 3 months. In total, only 6% of patients discontinued taking Epidiolex because of its side effects. GW Pharmaceuticals also received a nice boost following the announcement that it had been granted the orphan drug designation for cannabidiol, or CBD, for the treatment of NHIE, a condition occurring in 6,500 to 12,000 births per year in the United States. With no current drugs approved by the FDA to treat NHIE, it opens the door for exclusivity for GW Pharmaceuticals. Physicians have demonstrated a willingness to use Epidiolex to treat these rare epileptic diseases.
Some of the nation's biggest banks have come under fire for keeping debts alive on credit reports even when they were discharged in bankruptcy, essentially forcing borrowers to make payments on bills that they do not legally owe. Relief may be finally at the hand for customers who discharge debts have kept them from getting jobs or renting apartments, now that the Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase have agreed to update borrowers' credit reports within the next 3 months to reflect that the debts were extinguished. In agreeing to ensure bankruptcies were registered on credit reports, Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase admitted no wrongdoing. A lawyer for JP Morgan Chase, according to court documents, said that by August, the bank would ensure that all debts discharged in Chapter 7 bankruptcy were correctly recorded. Bank of America promised to go further by fundamentally changing the way the bank reports all of the stale debts that are sold to financial firms. As for the other institutions, a spokesperson for Citigroup said the bank has made a proposal consistent with what the other banks have proposed.
The EPA issued health advisory values last week that states and utilities can use to protect Americans from elevated levels of algal toxins in drinking water. Algal blooms in rivers, lakes, and bays sometimes produces harmful toxins. Because utilities often use these water bodies as sources of drinking water, the EPA has determined algal toxin levels in tap water that are protective of human health based on the best available science. The EPA is also recommending how utilities can monitor and treat drinking water for algal toxins and notify the public if drinking water exceeds protective levels. The EPA will issue the final documents containing the health advisory values, recommended monitoring and treatment approaches, and all supporting technical information before summer, which is prime season for the algal blooms because of warmer temperatures. Last August, a harmful algal bloom in Lake Erie left 500,000 residents of Toledo without drinking water for 2 days. EPA estimates that between 30 and 48 million people use drinking water from lakes and reservoirs that may be vulnerable to algal toxin contamination. Clear Lake's water is currently being tested on a regular basis to monitor these levels. Coming up next, folks, is the Regional News. We'll be right back.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Many popular, low-priced brands of wine contain dangerously high levels of inorganic arsenic, according to a lawsuit filed March 19, 2015 in California Superior Court. The suit claims dozens of wineries are violating California state law by knowingly producing, marketing, and selling arsenic-contaminated wine and failing to warn consumers about the potential danger. In the 28 California defendant wineries, they produce and market wines that contain dangerously high levels of inorganic arsenic, in some cases up to 500% or more than what is considered the maximum acceptable safe daily intake limit, the lawsuit says. Some of the popular wine brands named in the lawsuit include Franzia, Menage a Trois, Sutter Home, Wine Cube, Charles Shaw, Glenellen, Cupcake, Beringer, and Vintage. The wines named in the lawsuit are primarily inexpensive white or blush varietals, including Moscato, Pinot Grigio, and Sauvignon Blanc. The defendants produce and market wines that contain dangerously high levels of inorganic arsenic, in some cases 500% or more than what is considered the maximum acceptable daily intake limit. Medical experts say that the risks of the arsenic exposure include cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular ailments. The class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of California consumers who purchased the wines in the last 4 years. A complete list of wines can be found at wklawyers.com.
San Francisco's top prosecutor has called in a trio of retired out-of-town judges to examine thousands of cases investigated by police officers in a widening scandal over racist and homophobic text messages. The judges will look into at least 3,000 cases investigated by 14 officers over the past decade to see if bias played any role. This is according to District Attorney George Gaskin said Thursday at a news conference. He said prosecutors have already dismissed charges in some cases brought by the officers. The judges, Cruz Reynoso, Ladoris Hazard Cordell, and Dick Rin-Tavrisian Jr. will also investigate whether a deeper culture of bias exists within the department, Gaskin said. They joined a task force in Gaskin's office already investigating the city police department and the county sheriff's office after federal prosecutors revealed text messages among police officers including references to cross burnings and a suggestion that it would be okay to shoot a black person because it's not against the law to put an animal down. Sorry, folks. Gaskin said the messages not only fly in the face of the image San Francisco likes to cultivate for itself, that of a loving, inclusive community, but also pose a broader danger to the community.
Starbucks said it's moving quickly to find a new source for its water subsidiary due to the 4-year drought in California. They stated that due to the serious drought conditions and necessary water conservation efforts in California, Starbucks is moving the sourcing and manufacturing of Ethos water out of state. The company said it plans to move production to its supplier in Pennsylvania starting this week over the next 6 months. They stated that while simultaneously exploring alternatives to transition to a new source and supplier to serve the company West Coast distribution. On Tuesday, California regulators approved additional water cutbacks that include requiring certain cities to cut water by as much as 36% compared to that of 2013. Starbucks said it has decreased its water usage in California by 26% since 2008 through green building and water conservation practices. We are committed to our mission to be a globally responsible company and to support the people of the state of California as they face this unprecedented drought, said John Kelly, Starbucks Senior Vice President of Global Responsibility and Public Policy, in its statement. The decision to move our Ethos water sourcing from California and reduce our in-store water by reductions by more than 25% are steps we are taking in partnership with state and local governments to accelerate water conservation.
Water supplies for Sonoma, Mendocino, and Marin counties this summer could hinge partly on the dwindling storage in a remote, drought-starved reservoir on the Eel River that serves as a cornerstone to the region's water system. Water managers, fisheries biologists, environmentalists, and PG&E have their eyes on Lake Pillsbury, a diminishing Lake County reservoir where storage has dropped 30% in the last 3 months, leaving at least 55% of capacity. Barring a change in water policy, the situation could lead to a string of empty reservoirs by year's end, officials said on Friday. Lake Pillsbury's decline most immediately affects about 300 ranchers in Potter Valley, but its repercussions could reach Lake Mendocino near Ukiah and ripple down the Russian River to eventually touch the 660,000 customers in Sonoma and Marin counties, whose water is drawn from the river by the Sonoma County Water Agency.
Sonoma County is overhauling their mental health services for those in crisis. With an eye on delivering more modern and humane emergency mental health services, the county is gearing up for a major move in the fall to a new facility that could dramatically improve services for those in mental health crisis. They said it's really the first step in them trying to develop a one-stop behavioral health wellness campus. said Michael Kennedy, Director of County Mental Health Services. The goal begins with the relocation of psychiatric emergency services to a West Santa Rosa business park at Sebastopol Road and Corporate Center Parkway. The space, rented in a development called the Lakes, would allow the county more than double the size of its PES center from 7,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet. The county also hopes to lease more space in the future for outpatient behavioral health services, said Kennedy. Sonoma County Supervisor Shirley Zane, a vocal advocate of public mental health services, said the move will help to move the county away from the traditional PES model to crisis stabilization. That allows the county to focus more on immediately treating a mental health crisis rather than waiting until patients arrive at whatever inpatient psychiatric hospital receives them. We will be back after these short messages.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In local news, the strike continues at Hidden Valley Lake Golf Club as union golf course workers continue to picket from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day without pay. The union members are claiming unfair labor practices against the Hidden Valley Lake Association. The problems began last year when contract negotiations between the HVLA and Laborers Local 324 stalled. While HVLA and union representatives met several times, nothing was ever finalized, according to Griffin. The contract first expired on October 31st and then again on December 3rd, after an extension was issued. The union has filed a slew of claims with the National Labor Relations Board against the HVLA, which were consolidated into one complaint and notice of hearing filed on April 30th. In the document, the NLRB states, since about January 23, 2015, HVLA has failed and refused to bargain. The board thoroughly investigated each claim, and both parties had the opportunity to present documentation and witnesses before filing the complaint. The union and association will have the opportunity to present their evidence through witness testimony before an administrative law judge on June 15th in Santa Rosa.
A large crowd of representatives from a number of area agencies filled the Lakeport City Council chambers Friday to discuss the reformation of the Lake County Resource Management Committee, or RMC, an organization whose purpose is to identify and fix environmental issues and promote information sharing about Clear Lake. The committee is to be led by County Supervisors Jim Steele and Anthony Farrington, the latter absent from his inaugural meeting due to scheduling issues. Attending the meeting were representatives from local city government and other local authorities, in addition to Elam Indian Colony, Big Valley Rancheria, BLM, Senator Mike McGuire's office, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Robinson Rancheria, and Assembly Member Bill Dodd. Steele identified 5 general areas in the committee teams that they would try to address: the establishment of emergent habitats, or the natural plant life that tends to grow around the edge of the lake and in wetlands, which includes tules, the reestablishing of wetland areas to act as natural filtration systems for particular in the water flows leading to the lake, the establishment, monitoring equipment in upland areas to attract the amount of sediment flowing to the lake, the identification of best management practices for upland areas, and invasive species protection programs. The committees will hold quarterly meetings with the Lake County supervisors and the various organizations involved in order to present status updates and to share any knowledge gleaned from their research.
Yesterday, the driver of 2014 Volkswagen Jetta, Scott Thomas Emery, 39 of Hidden Valley Lake, California, was stopped at the stop sign of North Brush Street and 11th Street. Emery pulled out of the front of a Dodge Durango driven by Lakeport resident Doreen McGuire Grigg, who was traveling east on 11th Street at the posted speed limit. McGuire Grigg did not have time to brake or avoid Emery and hit Emery's vehicle on the driver's side. The impact sent Emery's vehicle across the eastbound lane of 11th Street and up onto a property in the 300 block of 11th Street, coming to rest against the front porch of the residence. McGuire Grigg complained of minor injury. Lakeport police officers determined through their investigation that Emery was impaired and driving under the influence of alcohol, with initial blood alcohol tests showing he was more than 2 times the legal limit. Emery was also found to be on active California Department of Corrections parole out of Lake County. The collision investigation found that Emery was at fault in the collision. Emery was arrested and booked for driving under the influence of alcohol, driving with a blood alcohol level greater than 0.08%, causing injury and violation of parole. Both charges are felonies. Emery is being held at the Lake County Jail on no bail hold. During the investigation and traffic control, another minor traffic collision occurred in the same area with minor vehicle damage only. Lakeport Police Department would like to remind drivers that driving under the influence is strictly enforced with zero tolerance. In addition, they would like to remind drivers to be alert, especially in construction zones and collision sites, and always follow the directions of traffic control devices and emergency responders.
The garden area at the Lake County Hill Road Correctional Facility has been completed. While the jail has had numerous gardens in the past, this is one of the few times where not only the inmates but several of the officers were responsible for spearheading the project. Prior to taking office, Sheriff Brian Martin said that he wanted a garden at the facility. He explained that this would allow the inmates to not only have a sense of pride in the produce that they grow, but it would also instill...
That's okay. It would also instill a sense of ownership in the jail as well. Correctional Officer Pickens has been pushing to have this project move forward and assisted with guiding it to completion. However, none of this would have been possible without the technical expertise of the facility's maintenance supervisor, Jeff Dolby, who is responsible for constructing the enclosure and guiding the inmates in the construction of the raised beds and the sprinkler system. There have been numerous donations made towards the project. One of the largest donations was the expert guidance provided by Master Gardener Gabrielle O'Neill, who donated her time to guide an inexperienced crew of officers and inmates in building a successful garden. She also donated several plants. If the garden does well, there are ideas to donate the produce to the local senior centers and possibly selling any extra at the local farmers markets. While this is not a new concept in the correction setting, the direction of education, ownership, sustainability, and community pride is what the Lake County Hill Road Correctional Facility is trying to achieve. Martin and his staff would like everyone to know the Lake County Hill Road Correctional Facility is no longer just about incarceration, but it's also about rehabilitation and education.
The 10th annual Lake County University admittance reception was held on May 4th at Kelseyville High School. Each year, administrators, board members, counselors, and college representatives all gather to honor the graduating seniors and their families who have been accepted to a 4-year college. This year, the schools invited 104 students, up from 95 last year. Colleges included California State Universities, Universities of California, and many out-of-state and private colleges.
The Louis Armstrong Award, or sometimes known as the King Bee Award, is the top senior jazz award, the highest level interscholastic award given to a musician. This year, it was awarded to Izzy Gura, son of local musician Herb Gura. It is given out by high schools nationwide to recognize outstanding musical achievement and incredible dedication to the program. Typically, there is only one recipient per high school. Izzy is a student at Lower Lake High School. He will be attending Lane College in Eugene, Oregon in the fall.
The Art House Gallery will be changing their Third Friday Gala art reception from the third Friday to the second Friday at 6 p.m. beginning in June. They will not be holding their gala in May as there is a conflict with another event. They apologize for the disruption and are looking forward to their June gala. The regular business hours are Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4. They also offer art classes and music lessons. They are always adding new art pieces and updating their display. For more information, you can contact them at area code 707-994-1716. We will be back after this break.
You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
The weekend brought us lower temperatures, and today we will see lots of sun and passing clouds with a high of 71 and breezy winds from the west at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight there will be partly cloudy skies with a low of 42. Winds will stay from the west at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday will remain sunny and cool with a high of 68. Winds will remain their westerly direction and the speed of 10 to 20 miles per hour as well. In the evening, it will be partly cloudy with increasing clouds overnight. The low will be 43 and the winds will decrease and shift to the west to southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, there will be intervals of clouds and sunshine, still cool with a high of 68. Winds will be from the southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and there will be a 20% chance of rain on Wednesday night.
In sports, in baseball, the Clear Lake Cardinals stayed undefeated this season by beating a tough Middletown team with a score of 12-11 in the North Central League One action in Lakeport. With the victory, Clear Lake 11-0 in league play and is now 21-0 overall, racked up no worse than a share of the league title. Clear Lake was superb in fending off the Mustangs in a contest where the lead seesawed back and forth. The Cardinals trailed 2-0 early, then led 6-2 after 3 innings, trailed 7-6 after a 5-run Middletown fourth, only to move back in front 8-7 in the bottom of the fourth. The Mustangs answered right back with 2 runs in the top of the fifth to go up 9-8. But again, the Cardinals pushed back into the lead with 2 runs in the bottom of the inning for a 10-9 advantage. The Cardinals took a 12-9 lead into the top of the 7th, but had to hold on as the Mustangs scored twice against winning pitcher Matt Heller. In softball, the Lower Lake Trojans beat the Kelseyville Knights 11-0 in 5 innings at Lower Lake High School. The Trojans, 8-2 in league play and 16-4 overall, are in 3rd place and need to win their final 4 games to attain at least a tie for first place in their division. Ashlyn Mock, who led the Trojans at the plate by going 3 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs, pitched the final 2 innings, allowing 1 hit, striking out 1 and walking 1. Lower Lake coach Emberson said that Mock is a gamer. She's our best outfielder and our best infielder. She has been a leader at the plate for us. The Trojans face Middletown, Cloverdale, Lakeport, and Fort Bragg to finish the season. The San Francisco Giants split with the Miami Marlins this weekend. On Saturday, the Marlins beat the Giants by a score of 6-2. Madison Bumgarner, who is now 3-2 on the season, struck out 10 in only 5 innings, but gave up 3 runs in the loss. On Sunday, Ryan Vogelsong pitched 7 innings, striking out 5, while giving up only 1 run as the Giants beat the Marlins 3-2 yesterday afternoon. The Giants scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning when Matt Duffy singled in Gregor Blanco with 2 outs in the 9th inning. The Giants evened their season record at 16-16. The Oakland A's lost both games over the weekend, extending their losing streak to 5 games. On Saturday, the A's lost 7-2 to Seattle, and then again on Sunday by a score of 4-3. Oakland fell to 12-21 as in last place in the Western Division of the American League.
And with the last word, an extreme senior prank has resulted in the firing of a sheriff's deputy, the suspension of a high school principal, and the banning of 100 students from their graduation ceremony. According to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, students at Sequoia High School in Madisonville urinated on walls, let chickens and crickets loose in the hallways, sprayed shaving cream and ketchup throughout the building, and left a dead animal in a hallway. The incident, which was apparently intended to be a senior prank, occurred late April 29th and early April 30th. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office was initially tasked with tracking down the perpetrators, but were forced to step down last week after it was revealed that one of their own, a school resource officer named James Fisher, had allegedly lied to them about his whereabouts at the time of the prank. We reviewed the school security video, and when I spoke to Deputy Fisher a second time, he admitted to the false statement, Jones said. The video shows Fisher open up the school before the vandalism occurred and shows him help the students carry items into the building. He then returns after receiving a call that the prank has gotten out of hand. Fisher was terminated for his alleged involvement, prompting the sheriff's office to step down as the investigating agency. The district attorney's office then asked TBI to take over the investigation. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation spokeswoman Susan Niland told the Huffington Post that on Monday the school district announced they had suspended Principal Gary Cole indefinitely for his alleged involvement. They stated the suspension is without pay, and the school district said in a statement that any further decision will be made when the investigation is concluded. Cole's alleged involvement remains unclear. Neeland would only say that the results of their investigation will be revealed once it's complete.
Thank you for joining us, folks. LCM TV News can be seen Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon live here at lcm-tv.com and anytime on our archive page at lakecomagazine.com. Join us again on Wednesday. Our next live program will be aired at 3 p.m. with Joni Lane and A Positive Light. Have a great day, folks.
Good afternoon.